Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, we're going to kick it off here with the indices. We'll go over SPY, QQQ. We'll check out VIX. We'll check out the MAG7 stocks. And then I have a few ideas for you guys at the end of the video. All right, so starting off here with SPY, guys, we did close out with the doji candlestick. We gapped up. You know, this could be taken as a spinning top candlestick. We will have to see. You know, if we are to break below today's low at 615.04, I have to assume we're at least coming down to 613.23. We are still a bit extended here. We have not tested the 5 EMA in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading sessions. I'm just saying, you know, most of the time when we have that, we usually end up either consolidating or pulling back. I do think it's very obvious this pullback is going to be bought. This dip is going to provide a buying opportunity. Does not take a genius to recognize that. You know, just go with the trend. It's bullish until it's not. We just made new all-time highs. SPY, QQQ. All right. And, you know, the MAG7 stocks are really heating up. I think it's obvious that this next dip is going to be bought. It's just a matter of, you know, protect yourself, you know, while it's actually happening. And can you take advantage of it? Where is this dip going to be bought from? Well, I'll tell you right now, if you don't hold 613.23, you have 610.78, 609.07. But the next big spot that stands out to me is going to be right here at 605.06. Now, I'm not telling you you get a 2% pullback over here into that level, but I'll tell you, if 613.23 does not hold, that is the level that immediately stands out to me. That is where over here on the weekly time frame, this is where you got bought up from. So if we retest that, it's going to be a break and retest just like you got going on right over here, how you got bought up right from there, and then you continued along your way the next 3 weeks. That could very well happen here. That is going to be, you know, my spot, my area of interest. That's where I'm looking at things, okay? If you do not hold all-time high, previous all-time high, 613.23, then we're talking 605.06. All right, let's just go over the levels here. On the upside, we have 619.22. Obviously, we have the 620 psychological level right above there. And the next cycle level is going to be 625 and then 630. I do just want to point out, you do have increasing volume on that. We know buyers are behind this. This isn't just a straight up short squeeze kind of rally here. But I'll tell you right now, you know, you could try shorting this thing. I think it's going to be pulling back over. Maybe it doesn't start tomorrow, but I think a pullback, we're due for one. And I would like, personally, I would like a pullback to reset some setups and, you know, to revert everything back to the mean. But, you know, you could try shorting it. I do think it's something that's going to be short-lived. You know, July is probably going to be a bullish month with how things are shaping up. Today was the last day of June over here. And we all see how these closed. All right. There's not really a reason to be bearish on this. If we do see a pullback, it is going to be a buying opportunity. Do not overstay your welcome on the short side. The thing looks like a monster, and we're probably just going to be trekking higher over the next few months. You don't need to get in front of that. It's like the equivalent of you trying to jump in front of a moving bus. The bus, like, it's not going to see you in time to stop. It's just going to plow right through you. Okay? There's just no point in doing so. So you can, but I'm telling you, that's the analogy I gave you, because that's pretty much exactly what you'd be doing. This thing is the moving bus, moving train, moving vehicle, whatever you want to call it. It's a heavy guy, and it's not stopping for you. You can try and short it, and, you know, maybe it pulls back a bit for you, but at the end of the day, it's going to hit it with one of these. All right. And, you know, if you overstay your welcome after a few sessions here, then you get plowed. All right. So don't put yourself in a bad spot. Follow the trend. Trend will be your friend until the end. And, you know, I pointed out on the weekly chart for years. All right. Ever since over here, this is, you know, October 2023, guys. All right. Ever since then, you have put in higher lows and higher highs on the weekly time frame. Every single low, it didn't violate the trend. Well, right up until the end, guys, which was right over here. All right. March 2025. That's when you finally start breaking down. And then we did see that. But as we see now, the trend has resumed to up. And you just got a very strong monthly close. It's not a reason to get bearish. I don't care how high prices are. I don't care how irrational it may seem. It's not a reason to get bearish just because we are pushing up to new all-time highs and got a very strong monthly close there. There's no reason to be bearish. On the downside, you have 616.39, 615.04, 613.23, 610.78, 609.07, and 605.06. I do not think this gap, 654, I don't think it's going to be filled. I think we'd probably, worst we'd see is 605.06. And let's just say today marked the top. Well, you pull back down to the gap. This is in your golden pocket. I still don't think it's going to be hit. But right over here, let's say you take a few sessions to really get down to 605.06. Your daily 21 is going to be sitting right around here. That is where we want to see buyers defend. All right. Now coming over here to QQQ, very similar picture. Very strong monthly close here. Looks like an absolute freaking monster off of the break and retest. All right. Monthly close, new highs. Weekly time frame. It looks like a monster again. If we pull back, it's very obvious that this is very likely to be bought up. 540.81 if we test that level. That's your previous all-time high. Here on the daily time frame, same thing as SPY. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions where we're just away, extended from that 5 EMA. Right here is 1, 2, 3, 4. Guess what? You tested on the 5th one. All right. A lot of the time when you get extended, you will pull back. All right, you go vertical, you pull back or consolidate so moving averages can catch up to price. Same thing over here. Okay, you eventually did end up pulling back, and that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions. Then on that 6th one, you tested the 5 EMA. That's the equivalent of us pulling all the way back down here, 545, 546 for tomorrow. Not saying that's going to happen, but it's definitely something to pay attention to. And honestly, I hope it happens. All right. But as far as levels go over here on QQQ, you have 552.80. That was today's high. Break above there, we're talking the next cycle level is going to be 555. Underneath, on the downside, underneath 550, 549.99, we're talking today's low of 549.01. Break underneath there, we're probably coming straight back down, 544.54. And then the big level, 540.81. If you come back down here, this is where I think buyers are going to defend between 536.78 and 540.81. And that is QQQ. Daily RSI, it's getting a bit up there. You just burnt through all these divergences, which tells us to be bullish on this dip. All right, there's no bearish divergence. We're probably not getting a big old bearish sell. We're probably going to see this dip act as a buying opportunity, and then bulls are going to take the way. You know, you had it right over here. Oh, you have bearish divergence. Oh my God. All right. And then boom, as of right here, they got burnt. And then you did end up continuing higher. But by the time you finally had that harsh low pullback here, that 2.5% sell within, 3 sessions, it got aggressively bought up. Within another week, you were back up at the highs. And then boom, the next week after, you went pretty vertical there from 486 all the way up to 502. That's why I say don't overstay your welcome. If you're choosing to take this short, that's on you. All right? Do not overstay the welcome, because we're in that mode where the dip is probably going to be short-lived. It could be brutal for the next few sessions once it starts, but it's very likely to be short-lived. And boom, by next week, we're probably going to be back up. And again, on the weekly chart, I already pointed out on the SPY, it's the same exact look over here on QQQ. You pull back into this area, 536.78, that's the top over here of your consolidation. It's just going to be a break and retest. You have no reason to expect the buyers aren't going to hold it. They're very likely going to hold it. All right, so that's QQQ. I'm just going to point out VIX was green with SPY today. That is room for concern. You did end up selling off from the close there, but I will just say you closed out up 2.5% with SPY up about 0.5%. VIX doesn't get bought or sold. It strictly moves up off of puts being bought on SPX and calls being sold, and it moves down on calls being bought and puts being sold. There are, we could see the fact that it's up over here, like puts are being bought on SPX. That's what's happening. Puts are being bought, calls are being sold more than not. All right, and that just tells us what's happening behind the scenes with big money over here, and it's a room for just be cautious. All right, it's a reason to be cautious. It was my reason coming into the day to be cautious, and yeah, it's still held for the close. So we could very well take out this low over here, come back underneath 1623, make a new low. But I'm just letting you know that pullback is very likely right around the corner. And I, for one, look to be taking advantage of it. And so should you. And you should be ready for it. All right, guys. We've caught, quite a few rippers over the past few weeks here. MSTR being the fresh one from today. You got no business not to be taking profits on these kind of moves. Just protect yourself in case we do get that pullback. You don't want to be losing your ass on that pullback. You don't want to be all stressed out. You want to be taking advantage of it. All right. So market is definitely very euphoric right now. Daily RSI is definitely getting up here over on SPY and QQQ. We could definitely pull back, and it's going to present such a glorious buying opportunity. And, I think it's best to take advantage of that and be in a position where you could fully take advantage of that. Okay, which means not being all in right before a pullback happens. Bullish pullback happens. You shit your pants. Maybe you sell. Maybe you have to sit through all the pain, but you don't buy in because you're sitting in pain. All right. When in reality, you want to be buying on that pullback. You don't want to be buying everything right now as you're pushing new all-time highs. All right, you can, but I pointed out plenty of opportunities for you guys to make money last week. All right, we had a big spike, and now I'm telling you, I think a pullback could be right around the corner. And I just really hope that is going to be the case. Doesn't have to be the case, but I'm getting ready for it. And I think you guys should too, as well as we have a short trading week this week, so there's no reason really to be pushing things. I'll just point out right now, the one setup that I am focused on right now, Bitcoin over here, guys, does look like it's getting ready to break out. MSTR started moving today. Big breakout today above 394.79. This is, honestly the only trade I was really looking to take coming into the day, and then we got what I wanted right off the bat there. And yeah, I mean, you got the daily close above the double bottom neckline, which was 394.79. Now, here's the thing, guys. That measure move is going to be a 35-point move. That brings you up to 430. All right, like straight up over the next few sessions, next 1 to 2 weeks, I think we really can get 430 to 450 over here going. And yeah, I put it on your radar beforehand. Now I'm telling you for a fact the thing is starting to break out. So there's that. Yeah, I mean, next stop, guys, really is going to be 415, 420. That's, my short-term target over here. And then, above there, we're just watching 430 and then 445 up there at the highs over here, okay? If you'd like to come trade with me, you could still use code Amazon for half off of your first month. But I live stream every day. I will, be live for the morning, typically until like 12 or 1. I'll be live over there. You can come trade with me, but real talk over here. I think this is really the only thing that I would be focused on. This is clear as day relative strength going on. I think the S&P 500 inclusion is going to be taking place soon as well. Maybe we are seeing a run up into that event. But what I do know here for a fact is this thing started moving today as the rest of the market was really just looking weak intraday. And to start off the day right there, this thing was just showing so much strength. And then the market actually started, starting to move / stop moving down, and then boom, this thing ended up popping. Okay, so it's definitely something to keep on your radar. It's got the relative strength going. I think we can get up here over the next few weeks, specifically maybe this week, if not this week, next week, 430 plus. All right, and if Bitcoin wants to go, this is definitely something that is going to benefit from that. So if Bitcoin wants to pop up to new all-time highs, you just need to see a move over 109.3K, and then we likely are going to, shortly after get up to 112, and then probably 115K shortly after that. All right. I'm going to go over the Mag 7 stocks right now, but I'm telling you right now, they're not really anything too appealing. I personally think there's a reason. Hey, Amazon and GOOG, if you guys were getting in with me, 718 contracts, you were up. I mean, Google, you were up like 150% this morning. Amazon, you were up about 100% off the move up this morning. They ended up fading. Okay. So, I think, if you're in August contracts over here, if you're in shares, that's fine. All right. I think this is very likely going to be pushing higher. But I'm also going to tell you right now, this thing, pretty much completely faded that big move on Friday. You closed out with the bearish engulfing candlestick. And I do think we can get 215 to 218 over the coming few sessions. Okay. I do think it's a dip that will be bought. but it can happen and it can be scary over there. I would personally, you know, if you were up a very pretty penny up here, okay, I'm just going to say very pretty penny. You could have taken profits. That's my plan, at least. All right. Like if you're buying into these things, I would say August expiration only. Yes, you're paying for, you know, extra premium there for earnings. I think it's worth it. They're going to hold up better. They're going to be a safer bet. We know this thing is probably going to be bought. It's coming into where it broke out from last week, 218.40. We're going to see if that ends up holding. If not, there, 215. But, you know, if you were playing these, I would say the easy, quick money pop that already came Friday into today, and people had plenty of reason to take off their profits there. You were up 100 to 150%, depending where you end up buying in with me, okay? On either of those tickers. So that's Amazon. GOOG, very similar look over here. You know, you had a decent fade. I personally like GOOG more than Amazon right now. I'm just going to say that. I think this has a chance of getting bought up in the short term, just kind of continuing. But I also will say you did form what is known as a dark cloud cover. You didn't close out near the lows like you normally would, but this is definitely, you know, something to keep in mind here is you have supply sitting right here. Once you get over here, I think you get a quick move up to 188.71, hit that 190 psych level. But, you know, we definitely do have sellers sitting right up here. And, yeah, I mean, if anybody, you know, listened to what I was saying, you were waiting for the daily close above the 200, daily close above 172.91. That's where you wanted to really be going long. I personally exited GOOG today. And yeah, I think it's time to just sit on your hands with most of your things. All right. As far as, you know, sizing up into positions, guys, you had a really hot market. I still think it's a hot market. But I think that hot market can cool off here, and I want to take full advantage of it. And these are stocks that I'm going to be eyeballing and I'm going to be watching for these, but I think we get some lower entries. Potentially GOOG gets back down to 174, which is around that 200 DMA. All right. So that's what I'm watching on GOOG. Coming over here to Nvidia. All right, this is one that honestly I think could just continue this week. It doesn't have to, but you know I wouldn't be surprised if it did. If it does end up pulling back, you're going to be watching previous all-time high 153.13 and then 148.97. Somewhere in between here, I expect buyers to defend. They're going to step in, and then they take it back to the highs. Microsoft, all right, it's not one I'd really be trading up here. I'm going to be honest, but it is something that, you know, it's leading the pack higher here. I'm still thinking everything looks like it's stalling out and or fizzling out, I should say, and getting ready to really pull back. And I'm looking forward to that if it happens. Underneath 493.03, we know that's kind of happening over here at Microsoft. Then we could target 487.75 and then 480.42. That's going to be where that daily 21 is. You want to hold that. If you break under that, you risk coming all the way back down here to 468.35. Previous all-time high. That is Microsoft. Coming over here to Apple, guys. The charts have spoken. The charts have told you, hey, Apple's likely about to start moving up. I think we're about to start a trending move upward above 206.24. We're talking 209.48. That is where on the weekly time frame, you're going to have the 21 EMA. You get above 209.48, guys. Straight shot up to 214.56 and then probably 220. And then you have the 200 DMA at 223. But Apple just started moving. Tesla, one that I would not be touching. I think there's absolutely no reason to touch this. I've been pretty vocal about not touching this or Apple until the chart suggests otherwise. And on a move over here on Tesla, you're going to need a move above 367.71 for the charts really to be suggesting that this is a long. Other than that, you have no edge going on right here. You have this big old pennant building out. I think it's going to break up, but at the same time, I don't think it's worth trading right now. I just don't. I think it's much better just to wait and see which way this is going to break, and you focus on setups that are actually there, not the thing that's going sideways and not giving you an edge in either direction, okay? But if it is going to break down under 313.30, you're watching 305. This is where your 0.618 fib from, you know, this whole most recent move is. Underneath there, 294.86. Okay, but if you can't hold 313.30 right here, that's at your 200, you're probably very likely coming down here at 295. On the upside, you have 335.50 and then 357.54 and then 367.71. If you get above here, that's when the move up really starts. Okay. So those were the Mag 7 stocks. I'd say pretty lackluster right there, but I will just point out some setups that I'm watching that are showing strength in this market right now. MSTR, I already sidetracked earlier and mentioned this one. This is top watch right now. This is one that just started moving. So not only do you have that double bottom breakout that very easily could bring you up to 430 alone off that measured move, you also have this inverse head and shoulders pattern going on here. And all this consolidation is just for the right shoulder. If this thing does end up popping above here, all right, right above 430.35, then you do have an inverse head and shoulders breakout over here. And I don't know if you're going all-time highs, but I'll tell you, I think this thing can get 450, 500 pretty quick once it gets going. We haven't seen a trending move really happen in quite some time over here after, you know, you had this going on over here. We see it just, you know, every single day that's a pullback, you get bought up the next day. All right. But then now it's been almost 2 months here where we've been in this consolidation, you know, 1.75 months now. It's been trading flat. It's just now today starting to break out from that. All right. So put it on the ding radar. Bitcoin, I want to see this thing end up hitting up these alerts up here. Okay. If it can get back up to 109K, that's when I think you're probably, you know, shortly after going to reach all-time highs. Shopify, I like how Shop is shaping up here. Honestly, I would like it a whole lot better if you pull back into this. I'll just set an alert right here. I would love for you to pull back into this consolidation, test it, and then we'd have a lower wick on the week. I think that would be a much stronger look than if we just shot through 117.36. But above 117.36, I do think you're going to be making your way up here, okay? Which is 130. Oscar, OSCR. This is one over here that I do think just started moving. All right, above 2120 over here. That was your little consolidation on top of this range over here. You did get a daily close above there today. So above 2180, today's high, we're talking 2278 and then 2379. Above 2379, this weekly and monthly chart looks really good. Really good. You're breaking out, you're probably getting $30 next month. All right, which we're about to start that next monthly candle. So if we do happen to take out 2379, we know to be trading it up to $30. That's Oscar. PayPal, I really like how the weekly chart is shaping up over here. It's getting ready for a big move, guys, and I think it's probably going to start up this week above 74.15. That's the top of your consolidation here. This thing could really start moving. You're targeting 76.46 and then above there $79. Okay, that is PayPal. Uber, starting to gun for all-time highs right off the bat, right on Monday. I think it's probably going to hit 94.38 tomorrow. If it pulls back, it's a buying opportunity. That's what I got for you there. Walmart started showing the strength today, and I'm just going to show the weekly chart over here, guys. This is like 2 to 3 months of consolidation here. All right, 2.5 months of consolidation. You've been in this range, tight up against the moving average over here, against the weekly 21. You found buyers at the golden pocket. You know, this thing is probably going to break above 99.50 over here in the short term and start its move up to 102.50 and then 105. That is Walmart. MCD, guys, expect a bigger move to happen over here. I'll just point out this is something this on the focus list this week. I gave the stats over there in the Discord. You guys can have them here too. But you know, every time we have hit this spot on the daily RSI, this is the move that followed. Okay, it was this move every single time. Sometimes it took 1 week like this over here. Sometimes it took 2 weeks. Most of the time it took 2 weeks. I'd just play it safe and just have your expectations at 2 weeks. All right, but the minimum move was this 5.6% move, 5.55 over here. It took 2 weeks. Well, guess what, guys? We have not moved all that much yet, and it's only been 3 sessions off the low, so it can take some time. But this is only 3.5%. You have at least 2% left in the tank. That brings you all the way up here to 98.86. You have the 200 DMA sitting at 301.54. All right, guys, that's what I have for you guys in today's video. I'll just point out SoFi and Crowd. Those are ones I also pointed out. SoFi, I wouldn't really be chasing up here, but as we can see, it's definitely in this impulsive sequence there. You just had a fresh new high made over 1842 today. All right, not on a daily closing basis, but you did get a new high over there on a intraday basis there. Heaviest volume you've seen in quite some time over here. I think this thing is going higher. Dips are going to be buying opportunities. Crowd, I pointed this one out over here. I actually pointed out underneath 491.20, and now all of a sudden we're at 510. All right, this is definitely something that's trending upwards right now. Daily and weekly RSIs are not yet overbought. I think this has a lot more juice left in the tank. Buying dips are going to be used as buying opportunities. That's what I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you did, please remember to leave us a like. It really helps me out, helps out the channel. All right. You know, our channel it's a slow grower over here on YouTube, in our corner of YouTube here, but we're making it. All right. We're making it happen. You guys are making it happen. Okay. I appreciate you guys. And with that being said, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.